here with a special guest. I'm going to introduce her in a minute. I'm Rochelle Nelson. I'm a business coach and a nervous system practitioner, and I help Christian women entrepreneurs get out of their own way at the level strategy can't reach. And I'm here today with Esther Stewart, the founder of Cottonelle, a business growth agency that helps established founders sell their premium offers consistently and predictably. And here's what I just love about Esther and why I'm so excited to talk to her today. She spent nearly 10 years inside Morgan Stanley and Merrill Lynch selling to ultra high net worth families and actual celebrities. And then she walked away from a multi six-figure corporate career to build her own thing. And within months was making more in a month than she used to make in a year. And she took that exact sales psychology that the biggest financial institutions in the world trained into her, and she engineered it for everyday founders. Esther, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you. I'm excited to be here.
Okay, so tell me a little bit more about like the day that you decided to like go all in on yourself. I am so curious about like how you got to that.
Oh, from giving notice to Morgan Stanley? Yeah.
Yes.
So I think that probably happened like a year before I actually ended up giving my notice.
Okay.
Yeah. Realized I wasn't happy. And I think like a lot of it all sort of timed around COVID, right? So
Mhm.
worked from home for 2 years working at Morgan Stanley and then had to go back in the office and realized very quickly that I didn't enjoy it. It wasn't enjoyable. I didn't enjoy the coworkers. I mean, lovely people, don't get me wrong, but I didn't enjoy going in and sitting in a cubicle around coworkers. I really enjoyed working from home. So that was the starting point. And then finally being able to say, yes, it's time to go. It's not easy to do when you're leaving behind a 401k and benefits and all the insurance and all of that, plus a salary that at least does pull revenue in, right? So I gave my notice. When I gave my notice, they said, can you stay for, I think it was another 6 months. So I was like, fine, if you all know I'm leaving and you're happy to pay me for 6 months, I will do it. And so I was able to have that little bit of a cushion, to transition. So still working, but was able to transition and then get things in place. And then, left. It's been over 4 years now since I actually have set foot into a corporation. So it feels really nice, but I'm not going to lie. It doesn't feel like it's been 4 years. So I still it feels like it was last year. Yeah. It was.
Yeah. Time just flies, especially when you're having fun. Okay, so tell me like how you decided to go from, what you were doing in corporate to helping founders and, just that whole like transition. What did that look like for you?
Yeah. So I started actually what made me choose Cottonelle and marketing as the thing that I was going to have my business around was I was working inside of Morgan Stanley and I was working with a team. And in that world was wealth management. Your next promotion, if you would, was either you can just stay in that role and just keep getting promoted and the titles change, but the job itself doesn't. Or I could become a financial advisor. And I already had all the registrations to be, I was already a financial advisor, but it was called something else. So to become a financial advisor, you have to market yourself. And so I actually put together this whole marketing package and strategy for the team I was working with. And they were like, oh, that's great. After months of me working on it, we're not going to use that. We don't want to use it. So I said, you know what? Hey, I've just done the work and I've put this together and I know this is amazing. I was like, why don't I just use it for myself? Right. And then let me just replicate this and start my own business. So, I think in the moment, sometimes things feel like really, really like devastating because you're like, wow, I just did all this work. But it was the thing that catapulted me into where I needed to be, right? And so I am not going to tell anyone that's listening that being an entrepreneur is easy. It is not easy. You have months where everything's going great, and then you have months where it feels like the entire sky has fallen on you, right? And at some point, you do get a little bit beyond that, and then most of the months are just great, but you have to go through that. So I had success in my business really, really fast. And that was amazing, right? And then in the midst of that, I realized very quickly what type of client I wanted to work with and what type of client I did not want to work with. So so now you have to get really specific on marketing. And when you start to change strategies to pull in the right type of person, it will temporarily stop what's working. And so I have just done that, right? But so it's not for everyone, but for the people that are like me and they're working in corporate or maybe they just left and they're like, oh my goodness, can I actually be successful? Absolutely, you can. if you have like the right strategies and people can find you and you can do all of the things. But yeah, that's where I was. I was working at Morgan Stanley, built it for them. They decided they didn't want to use it because they just wanted to stay where they were. And I was like, well, I'm not staying where we are and I'm moving. And so, so that's my story.
I love it. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
I love that you're like using something that you built for them and they were like, nah. And you're like, actually, this is awesome. Like, that's like having your own back. I love that so much.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. So there's so many different directions to go. It's like, where do we go? But one of my thoughts is I'm just like curious when you were actually inside, Morgan Stanley and Merrill Lynch, what did you learn about people and money that you couldn't have learned anywhere else?
Oh, that's a good one. I learned that money is infinite. I learned that you don't have to be smart to make wealth, to have wealth. You don't have to be smart to create it. You don't have to be smart to lose it. You don't have to be smart to invest it. And it's accessible to anyone.
Wow.
So I will say that because I know that in your business, you help women around money blocks. Yes. I would argue I don't have a money block because I was, billions of dollars being transacted at, when we're talking about like moving from somebody's assets from one firm to the other, hundreds of millions of dollars in accounts, and so that's what you log into every day and you just see money, 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 right? And so for me, I think that gave me a really good entry point into running a business that most people don't have at that level, because most of the time you come from scarcity, which is perfectly understandable. And now it's like, wow, this type of money is real. Oh yes, it is very real. So I think for me, that was the one thing when I realized how easy, and don't get me wrong, it's not easy, but if you'll do the work, it can be easy. So when I realized how easy it was to actually make money, I was like, all right, this is the thing. So that was one piece of it. The other was just the relationships. So when you're working with very wealthy people, whether and when I use the word sophisticated, I don't mean this against anyone. We can all be sophisticated. We're all sophisticated in our own ways. But when you have that level of wealth, you're able to be in rooms that most people cannot be in. And so by extension, when those are the people that you're engaging with and those are the people that you're having conversations with, it also changes how you show up and how you build your business around that. So for me, when I stepped into the online space, I did for a little while dabble in some of the marketing strategies that were geared towards very beginners.
Okay.
And I realized very quickly that was not going to translate for my business because I was I was a beginner, but I wasn't at a 4th grade level. Right. So I was able to come in and say, okay, how do I bring what I learned in Morgan Stanley, Merrill Lynch, and how do I actually bring this into the online space? Right. And so there was a period, I would say about 5 months of leaving corporate and stepping fully into just running Cottonelle for the first 5 months before I had my first $50,000 month, where it was just, okay, I know how to sell in one-on-one. I know how to be in the rooms, but how do you actually sell in a one-on-one conversation with somebody you've never met before who's just found you through an ad, right?
Yeah.
So I had to go through that experience, which was really, really hard. I said this on a podcast recently. I heard so many no's. I had my funnel so locked in. I had people booking calls. Then the cost to get somebody to book a call, everyone was blown away. They were like, how are you doing that? I have the full price of the offer before somebody booked a call. So there was no reason for somebody to say no. And I kept hearing no. Let me think about it. No. And I knew at that point that it was not the funnel. It was not the messaging. It was not the ads. It was me. Right. And so I had to have an uncomfortable conversation with myself and say, look, you can just keep doing what you're doing, which is obviously not working. People want the offer. How are you going to fix it? So again, I made another big investment. This was before Macy. I made another big investment at the time, and I hired a high ticket sales coach in the online space. And he came in and he helped me refine. And so that helped me in that moment. And his strategy for selling was great for that level. But once you're getting to the next level, like Macy's strategy is great for that. But I share that because anyone that's listening, like wherever you are in your business, like the strategy you have right now may be great for where you are, but you're probably going to need to shift it as you scale your business and as you have more and more clients coming in. But it is about, awareness of your limitations and being willing to acknowledge that those limitations are actually yours and not blaming it on the program that you're in or the funnel or the this or the that, right? And then actually owning, okay, well, what inside of what is not working is my responsibility and what can I actually change? And so that, instead of me just churning everything off and going back to Morgan Stanley, which they left the door open, they were like, you can come back at any point. I was like, no, I'm not doing that. I'm going to get really good at selling. And so that was the pivotal moment. And that's when I had that first high month, right?
I love that.
Answered your question. I got a little
Yeah.
sidetracked. Okay.
No, that was great. That was so good. I love it. So good. And I think, what you said about like learning to sell, I think that that is probably one of the skills that I think that every single entrepreneur, it doesn't really matter like what your like what your price point is of the offers that you're selling, like learning how to sell is one of the most important skill sets in terms of that, in terms of something you can like tangibly practice is that's like key. So I love that
Yes.
you brought that up. Okay, so I kind of want to like move towards like what you teach differently than other people because I've been in your challenge and I just love your perspective so much. And like Alex Hermosi, he was like, the fourth grade level, which I haven't ever been able to do because I'm like, I can't talk like a fourth, like I
Yeah.
can't take
Yeah.
my vision and my messaging and actually make it fourth grade. Like it's not going to work.
Yeah.
And so I would love for you to just like tell us like what are some of the things where you differ from the current, marketing fad strategies that are out there.
Yeah. I think the biggest is, I don't know if it's a difference or if it's just me being more realistic, is this. All of the
Mm.
marketing, and I say all very broadly because it's not all, but most of the people that are running ads right now that are talking about helping you with marketing your business, like they have great offers and they have great services, I'm sure. I've been in a lot of them, not all of them.
Sure.
But the one thing that I see that they do wrong, in my opinion, is they are selling a result that they did, but they can't actually back it behind something that a client has done. And so one thing I'm really specific about in my
Mm.
funnels, in my disclaimers, and everything that's on my website is being really open about like, yes, this could be possible. You might, one, I don't mention dates, but one, you might have a month, like maybe you turn your ads on and everything goes off and goes great in the first 30 days. That's absolutely possible. It might take
Mhm.
you 4 months. It might take you 6 months. It might take you a year. We don't know. Because while your ads can do a great job of getting people to your funnel, is your funnel converting? And if your funnel is converting and they're getting to your sales page, or you're having a sales call with you, I should say, are you able to convert those into yeses? And then once they are a client, are you able to do the fulfillment on the back end? Right.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
there's just all of these pieces that stack up like a domino. And a lot of the marketers make it sound like it's just like this one thing. And I'll give you an example. There's somebody running ads right now and they're talking about webinars and they'll help you with your webinar and they'll get your webinar set up in like 14 days. And that's great. Okay. That's amazing. But what's missing in that is this: the webinar itself is not the means that they're actually then teaching you to sell. They're using the webinar as a leverage point to then have a sales call. So again,
Right.
not fully transparent. The other thing is a webinar, anyone can have a webinar. You can pack a room with 500 people, but can you actually sell on the webinar? Right.
Mhm.
And that's, again, that has to be, and you and I had a conversation about this. Like I just did those challenges, right? Each
Yep.
challenge was an iteration of the one before because
Mhm.
I had to keep testing and refining and tweaking. And it was like, okay, this, I like this. I don't really like this. I'm noticing people are dropping off here. Right. And so
Yeah.
no one wants to hear that. And that's why the other marketers like to focus on like the quick results and the things that people do want to hear. And so I would say that my differentiator is that I'm not going to tell you something to make you feel good. I'm going to tell you what you need to hear around
Yeah.
strategy, so that
Yeah.
when you do set this in place in your business, you do have a realistic expectation. I am all for dreaming big. Dream big. If your goal is $100,000 months, let's do it.
Yeah.
But don't get discouraged if that doesn't happen in the first 5 months or the first 6 months. Like be happy with the momentum that's happening. And then
Yeah.
let's refine that. Let's get that working. And then you can have the $100,000 months. But
Yeah.
that's, to me, is the one thing I'm among so many things. But I would say that for my marketing strategy, and one of the reasons that I have been really successful in the caliber of the clients that I bring through, is that I'm intentionally not bringing through the people that would want to have somebody set up a webinar that would work in 14 days and they would, right? So again,
Yeah.
all it's about the messaging and the positioning of it. But for me, that's the thing that I'm the most passionate about, because that's the thing where I see so many founders, they get brand new or established, and maybe
Mhm.
they've tried marketing in the past. Maybe they've only done referrals. Maybe they've never done anything and it's like their brand new offer. And so they come into the space and they see all these ads about these quick wins and these quick successes. And it's not that they necessarily want that, but it's like they feel like a failure because they have had ads for 30
Mm.
days and now it hasn't worked. And it's like, what am I doing wrong? And then guess what happens? The doubt comes in and then they say they blame the program and then they jump to the next thing and now they've invested again. And I just see it happen again and again where if they would just stay with the one thing that they invested in and get really, really good at that, even if it takes a little bit longer, even if maybe the person that you enrolled in, maybe they implied that it would be 30 days, maybe it takes you 90, right?
Yeah.
Do
Yeah.
something, do it for 90 days and get really, really good at it before you decide if it is or is not for you. But that's why I'm really passionate about it, because I don't want people to come in and think, oh, this is going to all happen overnight. It could happen overnight, absolutely.
Yeah.
But if it doesn't, don't think it's you and don't take it personally. It's marketing.
Yeah.
It's all marketing. So yeah.
That is such a good like mic drop right there. Just like because we're sold
Yeah.
these quick wins, you're gonna be able to do blah 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 in this short amount of time. And I hate that messaging. I don't do that either because every person that I work with is different. Every person that I work with has a different set of skills. They've gone through different trainings. They have maybe some of it have invested a lot into their business knowledge, and some people have invested a little bit.
Yeah.
And like all of that impacts how fast people are going to shift and move and see a number difference. You can, and there's like so many different types of wins, like different types of business wins, besides just the numbers.
Yeah.
But sometimes, I mean, obviously, the marketers are capitalizing on the number game. And so we can really like feel really discouraged if we're not hitting those. So that's a good thing to be aware of.
Yeah.
So good.
Yeah.
Okay. I love that. So when you're working, so tell us like about like when you're working with a client, like how does that work? What are like, I don't know, what are some ways that you're helping them get clear and get results?
Yeah. So because I'm in the next level of my business, I actually just changed everything, probably even from when we last talked, because it was like time for the upgrade, right? So I share this candidly for anyone listening, because like your business is always going to evolve, and as you evolve, your business is going to grow with it. So I always like to like use myself as an example for anyone who's like behind me, who's like, oh, well, maybe it's like, maybe I'm doing something wrong. No, you're not. This is all part of the process. So before we focused on the systems and just setting up one specific system, because that is the one that is the core of everything converting when you're trying to sell a high ticket offer, high ticket service online.
Yeah.
However, in the past couple of months, I have realized that what I am truly passionate about within what I do is helping founders understand like what strategy actually makes sense for them. And no one else does that online. So for me, it is a really unique niche. And it's even more unique because I bring to it like my credibility in terms of doing this at very different and very high levels inside of Morgan Stanley and Merrill Lynch, and now online. So what that means is we architect first. So first it's, okay, what is your offer? What is your price point? What's your authority? What's your current credibility? What have you done? What have you not done? Where are you on social? Where are you not on social? And so we start there. And like, of course, what are your revenue goals? Very important. What are your revenue goals? And so we start there, and then we get to reverse engineer it back against like, where's their client online right now? What do they enjoy doing as the founder? Are you stronger selling one-to-one, or are you stronger selling one-to-many? Or are you not comfortable selling at all? In which case, then we need to really like start with this strategy, and then we add this one on, right? So there's all these different levels, but nobody does that online. And so for me, I'm like, okay, we need this first, because this is the challenge. If you just go in and set up, which I'm a big advocate of, is a booked call funnel where they see an ad, they come to an opt-in, they see a video, and they book a call. That is the primary driver of all revenue in my business. However, for some people, that's just not their strong suit. So if they are more suited to a webinar and they work with me and they love the idea of having a video and booking a call one-on-one, but I discover when we're working together, when we're starting to work together, that while they like the idea of that, they've never done that. And so while, yes, it's great to set it in your business, we still want revenue coming in. Then that's where I'm going to be like, why don't we start with what you do well? And let's build that. Let's set it up. Let's run ads to it. Let's get it automated. Let's get it converting. And then you can add the second one, right? Because I'm right now that you actually need 3 systems. If you really want to scale, if you want to reach 6 figures, 7 figures, whether that's months or years, you need 3 systems. And the reason is, as you are scaling your revenue, you're going to get, and as you're scaling your ad spend, because I firmly believe that if you really want to scale, you have to run ads. Unless you're going to have these massive in-person events that you're able to go and be on stages to, or have money. Either way, you're investing a lot of money. So I'm like, why don't you just do it with ads? So when you're investing money in ads, when you first start out, if you're sending somebody to a webinar, that's great. If you're sending somebody to book a call, that's great. But what happens is, as you increase your ad spend, the people who are likely to take that specific action get smaller and smaller and smaller. And so this is why you've seen people say, well, I scaled spend, but it actually didn't bring more return. The ROI on my ads went up, right? It costs more now to obtain a client. That's why. So I believe you need 3 different funnels. And for each founder, those funnels are different, but I'll give you examples. And I'll tell you why. So let me tell you why first. The reason you need 3 is this. You have the buyer that's ready to buy now. You have the buyer that's ready to buy in a month to 6 months. And then you have the buyer that's ready to buy in 6 months and then beyond. You need 3 systems to capture all 3 of those. So if you don't have all 3 of those captured and have ads running to all 3, if you're truly trying to scale and you're spending, thousands of dollars a day in ad spend, even $10,000 a day in ad spend, if you don't have all 3 of those, you're going to spend a lot of your budget, and your return on investment against your ads is going to creep up, because the people who are ready to buy today get smaller and smaller and smaller. This is why you can go in with really micro budgets, like $40 a day, $30 a day, and only send them to book a call with you, and you can have great success. But the cap on that scalability is going to be there. And when you start to spend more on ads, that's when you realize it. So that's why I think everybody needs 3. You need one that captures the person who's ready to buy today, which is booking a call at the price point that we're talking about. The person who is thinking about it, but they need a little bit more trust. They need more time spent with you. And they're like, I would really love this, but I worked with this person before, it didn't work. So then in that case, I would say you're probably going to need a webinar or a challenge. And that gets determined by your audience and by how much time they need with you based on the price point. So it's either a webinar or a challenge. And then the third one would be either a free something or a low ticket something. There's no right or wrong there. But what that's doing is that's the one for people who might move in like 6 months, they might move in 12 months, they might move never, right? But we want to have something. And the whole purpose of all of this is to move them into your pipeline. So that's just to get them into your CRM. So of course, for all of this to work, if you're going to run ads, you should have a CRM system that's pulling them in and that's moving them. So the CRM now gets the job of nurturing. The CRM sends out emails. The CRM collects their emails. If you're using text, it's sending out text for you. But what happens is now you have this email list that just gets built and built and built. And so while the first couple of emails, 7 to 10, are automated, now you have this email list that you own. And so when you want to sell anything, you can just go and send them an email. Like I email my list probably once a week. Sometimes it's more, sometimes it's 3 times a day. But because we're in the summer, I'm slowing down how many emails I send, and then I'll ramp back up in a couple of months. But that's why three systems, for those that really, really want to scale to that next level, and don't we all, and then the 3 that capture. And then even within that though, now you have to get really specific on what does your ideal client want from those 3 things. So this is where I see a lot of founders have these amazing ideas, don't we all? And we're like, oh, I think everybody wants this, but they've never done market research. They don't actually know their ideal client wants it. They just want to create that thing for them. And so they'll put together like a free PDF, and they'll put it out there and nobody signs up for it. And they're like, nobody wanted this. I must, right? Yeah. So the thing is, sometimes that can be changed just in how you position it. So that can be positioned in the copy, but sometimes it's actually the thing. Like, even though we love it, it's like, nobody wants it. I've done that. Like, I can't tell you how many times I've done that. And I'm like, oh, this is the thing. And I'll put the ad up and I'm like, wow, nobody wants that. And it's so heartbreaking because you're like, oh my God, I thought this was like amazing. But so that's where you want to know, like, who is your ideal client? What do they actually want on the other side? And you have to go really, really deep on like, what is the value to them on this? And to make it even more complicated, which is not complicated, it's just work. I think there was this, and honestly, I don't know if it was a misconception. I don't know if it was the marketers just trying to convince everyone of this, but I will say that they were, even up to like a year ago, I was seeing people promoting how to create a free PDF using AI in minutes that people would buy. And one, I'm highly skeptical of that, but let's say that actually worked. If it worked, it's definitely not working now. And the reason I say that is because all of us know how to use AI at this point.
Yeah.
Right? So if you are going to create something that you could just use AI to build for you as a free PDF that you actually want to use that to build up your email list, then I'm going to argue that, well, AI can help get brainstorm. It can help actually create it. It can help get like the way it looks and all that. Great. It can even create some of the content, but the core content that's in there is the thing that you actually know in your own brain that you have
Yeah.
to figure out how to bring out. And then once you have something like that your ideal audience actually wants, then that's a thing that like you can charge low ticket, or you can even give it away for free. But again, all of that is about like testing what is your ideal audience one on the other side. But when you have those three systems and then you have them all going into the same CRM, you're just building your email list, then now you have this pipeline. And this is how, I don't know, I'll give you guys a little secret here. I don't know if y'all are seeing the ads running right now where people are talking about, you have a month where you do really good and then a month where it dies and then a month where you do really good. And they're talking about like, they have the secret. I just gave you guys the secret. It's having multi different ways to bring somebody into your pipeline and keep them engaged so that when they're ready to buy, you're the first person they think about. So
that makes so much sense.
yeah.
I just love how you explain things, because I feel like sometimes I'm talking to people who are, strategists or they're, marketing experts, and sometimes it's so complicated what they're trying to explain, and I'm like, why does it have to be complicated?
Yeah.
Selling doesn't have to, like, is it hard to like sometimes get it nailed down? Like, yes, like the messaging and all that, but
Yeah.
like the idea itself doesn't have to
Yeah.
be complicated.
No, but I will say
So
that's also a marketing strategy too. They will try to make something really, really complicated so you think you can't figure it out on your own. And there's nothing wrong with that. I'm all for selling. I'm all for sales. If that works for you, that's great. But yeah, I won't personally sell based on that. Because I think that's also, I don't know about you, but I will say that that's also been a big grievance for me in things that I have invested in, because I think that this person is selling me something that I have never heard before because of how it's been marketed. And then you have the sales conversation, or you go and you buy the thing, whether it's low ticket, high ticket, or mid ticket, it doesn't matter. And then you're in there and you're like, wow, this is the exact same thing. I already knew this. Right. And now you're really regretting making that investment. So yeah. So I can't stress that enough. If founders want to get cute and try and make something seem like it's not, then fine. But if you're a client that enrolls in that and it's the same thing that they could learn anywhere else, or maybe they have learned somewhere else, but you've just packaged it differently.
yeah.
That's you might be able to scale, but you're gonna have a low retention rate, and you're probably gonna have a lot of people who don't come back and buy from you. So
Exactly. Like you're shooting yourself in the foot because you're not providing honest and actual real value.
Yeah.
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 Like a pet peeve of mine.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
And it's really bad, especially like in the coaching industry right now. There's so
Yes.
many coaches who have been selling at crazy, like high ticket, and then not providing the value that they were. And so then that leaves a lot of people burned. Even
Yes.
if they find another coach that's actually providing that value, it's not like they would necessarily know
Yeah.
unless they got like a free session with that person, and all of
Yeah.
that. But anyway, it's like a thing right now. Like the whole trust thing is really important. And
Yeah.
so it should be in the front part of your business too, building that trust by marketing ethically and honestly about what's actually in the back end.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
yeah. Awesome. This has been such a great conversation. Is there anything else that you'd want to add in before we shift gears, and you can tell us where people can find you and all that, but is there anything else you'd want to add to this conversation?
I think just for anyone listening, especially if they're just starting out,
Yeah.
your business can be successful, but don't let anybody convince you that it's going to be easy. It will be easy if it's something that you're passionate about, but you're still, even if you're really passionate about something, there's still going to be days where it's not easy. For
Yeah.
example, if you love delivery, but you hate the sales piece, you're either going to have to get in a mindset thing and just learn to love it, which is easier said than done, right? But I would just say, just know that if there are parts of your business that feel hard, it's okay. It's normal. And don't let anyone else convince you that because it doesn't feel easy breezy light, you must be doing something wrong, because it's just part of being an entrepreneur. Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. And I feel like the whole comment that we were having around like the freebies, how we both have done so many freebies that
Yeah.
totally never landed, for our people. Like, but that doesn't mean we stopped making them. We just tried another one, and
Yeah.
I think that's like the whole thing is just like, Okay, that didn't land. Let's try something different, and being willing to fail and try a different thing if that thing
Yes.
isn't working.
Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
love that. So good. Okay, so where's the best place for people to find you? What are you working on right now? And do you have anything that you want to, share about that they could find you and learn from you?
Yeah. So if you want to look up my business, you can go to my website. I'm going to spell it because autocorrect likes to spell it as the toilet paper. But it's COTTNOWLOFFISIAL.com. And I'm sure Rochelle's probably going to link it below, so that will save you guys some confusion as well. But long story short, it is cottonowlofficial.com. And yeah, anything that you would like to learn, everything's there, free resources. I have a free community, I have a free webinar, shouldn't surprise anyone based on what we've just gone through. And I have all sorts of free things that are available to help you all as on your business growth journey. So yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate it. This was such a great
Same.
conversation.
Thanks, Rochelle.
All right.